Panama. Classic.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out anything else to play. Almost changed
playing Panama.
I never heard Leonard play guitar, so that was cool.
Crushing it, man.
I'm a man of many talents.
I see. You got the keyboard back there.
He's a polymath. He's a Renaissance man.
Ridiculous.
No, you're ridiculous. You and Bill, you guys are like IEEE, friggin' all over the place. You guys are amazing. But hey, everyone, IoT Coffee Talk listeners, welcome, and viewers. And remember to take us seriously at your own risk. We're just here to have fun, share knowledge, have honest, frank conversations about tech and everything that surrounds tech. And then occasionally we try to do this IoT stuff that no one seems to care about anymore. But you know what? I think there's some growing interest, right? Yeah, I like that. Yeah, that look. Thanks, Pete. Yeah, well, you're making it happen again with all the tiny ML stuff, and then all the edge stuff. It's making. Hopefully, it'll make IoT sexy again. But hey, and we have the Data Diva, Debbie Reynolds, in the house.
Here.
Oh my God. You know what? You're a rock star. You're the rock star.
Thank you.
And oh my gosh.
Midas touch.
Good morning.
Oh my gosh. We have representation. We have diversity.
Yes.
Awesome.
Every day.
Yeah. No, this is great. We have our ladies representing. This is just freaking fantabulous. Love it. So what's going on, everyone?
Friday.
What's happening? I was at the RISC-V summit this week. That was interesting, especially in the context of the ARM Qualcomm little spat that they're having.
Yeah.
Around architecture. Yeah. So everyone at the RISC-V summit was kind of had a little bit of a spring in their step about
really?
The future of RISC-V and servers and MPUs and MCUs and all that good stuff. So it was kind of fun to be there. I was on a panel with NVIDIA actually and Qualcomm and Pete Warden from Useful Sensors, and we talked about AI and security and stuff. It was cool. It was fun.
Oh yeah.
So, RISC-V, pretty cool.
Yeah, I missed out this year. It's insane. This whole quarter is just madness.
Oh yeah, the events are like totally piled on top of each other. I was actually presenting at Spectra Particles Conference at the same time I was on stage at the panel. It was recorded, so it's like you have to sort of multitask yourself. But no, I thought the RISC-V stuff, just architecture. We have a bunch of partners in the TinyML Foundation using RISC-V for like ultra low power, like audio AI and stuff. It's really amazing what you can do there. And so I'm really optimistic about that becoming a bigger part of people's portfolio. So
it could, I think that the whole Qualcomm ARM thing is going to just either settle or
they'll settle. It's just a little drama, wait till the Snapdragon Summit and then throw down some shade and stuff. They're just negotiating for price. That's all. It's that the whole Nuvia acquisition. So for folks who don't know, they Qualcomm acquired Nuvia. Nuvia was an ARM licensee. They had a certain price up here. Qualcomm has a server down here, and then they basically Qualcomm said, "Well, now that we've acquired Nuvia, we want to pay down here our existing price." And ARM's like, "No, you need to pay up here." And then so What do you think's going to happen? We'll meet somewhere around here.
Yeah. I mean, the real challenge was Nuvio was originally geared toward making ARM cores for server market. And then, of course, much lower volume, higher price, and so ideally a higher negotiated royalty, right?
Mm-hmm.
But because licensing is not the thing, it's really about the royalty, right? And it's weird. People still don't really understand ARM and ARM's business, and when they hear RISC-V, they're even more confused because they think these are chip companies, and they're not. And so
specs and software, basically.
Yeah, well, it's like IP, right? Basically,
But I mean, it's more, the way that I kind of looked at it is that it's more business model, right? And the business model broke down by way of acquisition. So
which one?
When you bought Nuvia, it gave them the ability to actually circumvent the business process or the business model that ARM had.
The licensing royalty model is just a different tier.
Yeah,
it's a different category of chip. So
it wasn't just the architecture.
No, it wasn't, because what Nuvia had was what's called the architecture license, right? Which is different
Qualcomm got
from a technology license, which is you're actually licensing ARM's core IP. And then what you're doing with the architectural license is you have license to use the baseline ESA and extend it and customize it and just use bits and pieces, whichever you want. So, the chip design is going to look entirely different. So like the new Orion, okay, speaking of Snapdragon Summit, they announced Orion, Gen 2 Orion CPU core. That thing looks way different than what ARM is designing. So it's foundationally ARM IP based, but it's been modified significantly. The microarchitecture is very different. And so that's why you're seeing that kind of performance with the Orion chips versus like everything else. I mean, it's coming up to par with Apple's architectural designed, M series, right? And A series and everything else. And so it's a little, it's different. It's not necessarily a business model thing. It's definitely it has a lot to do with the question of license transferability.
Right.
Or post acquisition.
Yeah. When you acquire a company, but there's also a little bit of I
still kind of feel like there's something in the business model part of it, because that's business model is. I mean, Qualcomm does a very similar type thing, right? I mean, QuickTel licenses that, and then they make modifications. I mean, I've seen this firsthand where a lot of gaps that Qualcomm had, QuickTel fixes. And then as the gaps are filled by Qualcomm, QuickTel removes the gap. So I mean, there's something in there, and maybe it's in the language, change of control.
Oh no, but you're right. Afterwards, there were a lot of murmurings about how ARM's going to change its licensing and licensing model, right?
Yeah.
So and that's what you might be reacting to, because there's a lot of history in this stuff. Yep. When you read some of the current media coverage of it, there's huge gaps and just misrepresentations. It's laughable. And people forget, right? And this thing has been dragging on for a really long time, and people's memories are short, especially journalists. And a lot of analysts. But before we move on, dude, Steve, welcome back, man. You're alive. How are you?
Just hanging in there. I mean, it's been a long couple of weeks, that's for sure.
Oh man, it's good to see you.
I've never experienced tornado damage like this. I mean, this is a whole new thing for a guy from Jersey, right? So we don't get those kind of things. So the damage is just overwhelming. The tree lost a the house loss. We got a final tally. We have 451 homes that are destroyed in Vero Beach, just in our beach community.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, so it's. I mean, I'm surprised my internet's up. How's that? It's like a day-to-day thing. It's just been overwhelming. So,
What's the sentiment, Steve? Are they rebuilding or are they
you know what? I don't think the funding and stuff has been put together yet to figure out how that's going to happen. I mean, FEMA's been here the whole time, but it's been like, now we got to go to the money phase, right? First phase was giving people places to shower and eat and live, and tents and blue tarps. And then now we got to go figure out, okay, who's paying for all this stuff? Because we have enough problems with hurricane insurance and everything else. I mean, that was a bad day. I mean, tornadoes came in from 3 to 5:30 in the afternoon, 10 inches of rain in 2 hours. And then at 11 o'clock that night, the hurricane came through at 80-mile-an-hour winds. So between then and 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock in the morning, we got that. So it was, you don't know who's paying for what, right? Is it weather, wind, hurricane damage, water, blah, blah, blah. So it's been interesting to live here on the beach. It's never going to be the same. It will never look the same. So,
Oh man,
crazy. But, then I leave and I go to Utah and win the World Senior Championships last night.
Hey, congratulations.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, you go from the low to the high to the low to the high. It's like, well, welcome to life. So
yeah.
Something about October this year has been a bit chaotic for a lot of people, a lot of families, a lot of business people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm hoping to put it behind me.
Yeah. Well, hey, we're glad you're safe. Looks like your office is intact, and
yeah, everything's intact. I mean, outside looks like shit.
Yeah. Last time I talked to you, you were talking about how you're waiting for people to board up your windows and stuff like that. So
and we did. We had that. It was done for several days until I couldn't stand living inside a cocoon.
Man. Well, hey, it's good to have you back. And so, hey, you know what? Debbie has some news to share.
All right.
On a very, very important topic related to something she holds very dear to her heart, right? So, hey, you want to break the news?
That's an interesting setup.
Wow.
Oh,
Sure. So, I was one of 16 Americans chosen to be on an advisory board, commenced by the U.S. Department of Commerce, and it was called the Internet of Things Advisory Board. We convened for 2 years. We meet 2 days a month for 2 years. Everything that we did had to be on the record. We had a federal officer. There's a law, a FACA law around advisory boards and the things that you have to do this process. And so there were 16 people from all different, sectors and different interests, from people doing IoT and agriculture, supply chain, consumer electronics. Actually, one of the people on the board is one of the big guys at the CES show. He was a very interesting character. And
Shapiro?
Yeah. No.
Shapiro, come on, he would not come to that level.
I'm like, thank you. What are you talking about, Debbie?
No. Oh God, I've known him for 2 years and I forget his name always. Mike Bergman. He's
okay.
Yes. This is all on the public. This is all public information.
Yeah.
It's no inside baseball thing. But our final report went out this week, October 22nd. And so the report was released to the federal working group. So we were outside working group giving a report to the federal government. And then our report also will go to Congress.
Nice.
And so there were over 100 recommendations in the report. I was because the work was so large, we had subgroups that worked on certain things. So I was the head of the privacy subgroup. And as we were working, we realized, wow, privacy touches like everything. So a lot of our recommendations that we made were pretty broad and sweeping, but we did kind of get in the weeds on some things, especially around cars. So yeah, the report came out. Some of the big issues or the items that we were able to get into the report, and some of this involves Leonard as well. We advocated for a universal opt-out with IoT devices. We want there to be plain language in privacy notices and privacy policies. We recommended that privacy information be added to the vehicle stickers for new and used cars. And that's actually the Slugfest one. I'll tell you about that, because there's like a backstory to that.
Oh, yeah.
Right. So of all the recommendations that were made, that was the one that the lobbyists really came in hard to try to oppose. But that's, that was pretty interesting. And data sanitization standards when cars are resold, making sure that the data is sanitized, so, because that's like a huge area of identity theft, especially if someone's car is sold or is repossessed. So all this is about apps, it's about devices, it's about, who's using what. And so I'm really proud of the report. It's been, I say it's like being pregnant for 2 years, basically. So it was kind of.
How was the birth?
Yeah, it was. I was very relieved to be done with that. But yeah. But the part that actually Bill and Leonard helped me a lot. So this one recommendation that I made was called I called it the little recommendation that could, and it almost didn't get in the report because people didn't think it was big enough, which was to get the privacy information on the vehicle sticker labels. Yeah. And so the recommendation had been proposed for many months. I think it was in the draft reports for over a year. And then as we were finalizing the report, because there is a consensus thing. So everyone has to agree, or if someone disagrees, you have to discuss and you try to get consensus and stuff like that. So we had voted to approve that in the report. And then we got word through a member that the Alliance for Automobile Innovation wanted to kill the recommendation about adding privacy information to the vehicle sticker. So they sent the letter and they said, hey, we oppose this because,
that was pretty.
It's against the innovation. It was just basically the same tired things they shop around state to state when they try to kill bills around car stuff. So anyway, they did that. They had a spokesman come in to speak, and then I had to create a report about a more in-depth report, because I had already. So whenever you do these recommendations, you have to present to the board like, this is what we want, this is why it's important, and you have discussion and stuff like that. So I had already done that like a year before, but this time, because of this opposition, I had to do it like just a big way. So big pimping. I had to go there. So I created this massive report. I think it was like 100 pages or something.
It was pretty impressive.
It was epic. All right.
Oh yeah.
Like a college research paper.
Yeah. It was ridiculous. Well, the good thing is I contacted each board member. I gave them an outline of what I want to talk about, and I want to make sure, like, okay, does this answer all your questions? So people wanted to know, how much would it cost to change the vehicle sticker? Because that was like a thing, is there room on the sticker? So first of all, the last, so I did all that, so I went back to the transcripts from the Oklahoma senator, who's Maroney, who created the vehicle sticker. Had to go back to the history of that, from pricing to the cost to, what agencies have stuff on the sticker. One thing that they would say is, well, the sticker's not big enough. It's like, there's no law saying it has to be a certain size. Okay, so end of story. But they say, oh, it's too expensive. The last time they did a study, the National Highway Safety Transportation Agency, this was, about 10 years ago, they said it would cost like 16 cents to add something to the sticker. So it's not very expensive. It's not expensive. It's not hard to do. You may not want to do it. And people are like, oh, well, this agency handles a sticker. It's like, no, that no agency has total control over the sticker. There are certain things that have to be on the sticker. So they manage what's in their box in the sticker, but they don't manage like the whole sticker, right? So because of that, I asked Leonard and I asked Bill to send in letters in support of the recommendation. And so your letters went to the board. Your letters are part of the federal record of the proceeding. And I think you're noted in the report. Yeah, so it's all official. So yeah, so after that,
I mean, who knew, Debbie, that you would need
door, Bill?
who knew, Debbie, that you would need real estate on that sticker? Like, that's my space. That's my section.
All about
I had to. These are the common objections that you get for this, and so I had to like go way deep to like find all this stuff, So it was crazy. So after that, it was so funny. So one of the board members who's very vocal, who's the CES guy, he was opposed to it, and so him and then this lobbyist group. And so after I finished my presentation, he completely changed his tune. So he said, okay, I
sold it.
Well, because
Okay,
he didn't have
in his place.
conversation. If he had came up with another 100 pages and been like, well, this is why I don't, then
Yeah.
he's like, I'm not about to go and do
He's
that
like,
work.
Oh yeah.
He's like, white flag, I'm done.
Yeah. So it was a bit of a slugfest. It's interesting. So the first article that came out about the report, again, like there are over 100 recommendations in the report. The article that was written was about that sticker.
Wow.
So it's definitely something that people are really interested in. Actually, I think I have one of my other fellow members on the board, he's actually working with a global group around IoT, and they are very interested in that in Europe now. So he's speaking at a conference next week.
Wow.
About vehicle stickers and privacy.
Interesting. Wow.
So, yeah.
That's
So
something for them versus them always.
Yeah, exactly. The other way around. But
yeah.
But
In charge.
really quickly, so the opt-out, when she mentioned opt-out, Steve, you like kind of made a funny face. What the hell was that about?
Well, I'm just trying to think about where that takes place, right? So does that take place on a device management platform? Is that going to, IoT core? Does that get done by the SIM guy? So I'm like going, oh my, I'm just thinking about the optics and the procedures of being able to get that done operationally.
Yeah. It's definitely going to be a challenge. I know it can be done. I think the problem that we have is that the work currently is on the consumer, right? So we need to switch that around where the work needs to be on the device makers and people who have these services to make it easier for the person to do those opt-outs.
But if you look at the consumer markets and there's all the different variety of home automation software being used, that's third party, has no relationship to the camera or the sensor. I agree with the price, the policy and what you talked about, but I'm just looking at it from an execution standpoint. I'm like, where do you begin? Because even on the enterprise B2B commercial side, end of lifing stuff or recycling TAC IMEIs. That's a big business right now. I mean,
exactly.
Yeah. But here's the thing. I've been telling companies lately that have been making a stink about, some of their groups talk about how security and privacy stifle innovation. I actually hear them say that. I said, why that attitude? Yeah. And they go, what do you mean? It's like, how come you don't see those as areas of innovation?
Right.
If you can do that, it'll be a differentiator for you. You can then turn that around, sell it to your customer as a value proposition. Why do you guys keep thinking about this stuff in this twisted way? So if someone came up to you and said quality gets in the way of innovation because you're subscribed to this mentality of throwing shit up against the wall just to see if it sticks.
Right.
I mean, come on.
Yeah.
You're going to throw
trusted. This whole thing around trusted technology. Trusted technology is the new. It's like a great opportunity. Trusted technology. We talked about in AI all the time. How do you get transparency and auditability on AI? And same with the stuff that Debbie's doing. We just need more trusted technology, and that means awareness. And it is an opportunity for those that lean in. It becomes a differentiator.
Right.
Yeah,
but
I think too. It's. I was going to say too. Sorry, Bill. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Steph.
I was going to say it's also one thing to be a consumer and purchase something and onboard it and set it up and have the option. It's another thing to purchase something or be around something and your data is attached to it. There's something that's connected, and the consumer has no idea, and the consumer has no idea that their data is being leveraged or used for anything.
Totally.
Especially those that are making money off of it or selling that data. It's just two different kind of scenarios there. And I think on the enterprise side, that's a whole nother ball game when you take the consumer out of the picture in terms of what they're opting into, what they're opting out of, or are they aware of it?
Yeah. But it's been pushed down to the consumer, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
right.
At the end of the day,
from the start,
technology was changing so fast, and in the background, the businesses, whether they're small, medium, or large, we started saying, well, the value is not in this device that we're selling. The value is actually in the interaction that's happening over there.
The experience.
And like just Debbie, like I mentioned yesterday, the opt out. And all of this kind of came about through education and awareness. When people started ranting and raving about this is what's happening to me, and then you start peeling it back and looking at it. And I made the example yesterday of Roku. So my home is pretty much fully automated. And then I put Rokus in to kind of run through all of the TVs that are in the house. All right. There's 8 of them.
Same here.
And when you sign up for Roku and you go through and look at their third-party data partners, that they go, hey, it's not us. If you really want to opt out, you got to go through them. And you start clicking through that and clicking and clicking and clicking. And you find out that, oh, wait a minute, 50% of them you can't opt out of because they make it too difficult. So they just want you to go, I give up. I want the service. My position was, well, actually, you know what? I don't give up. Kill the Roku stuff. I'm bringing in Apple TV.
Yeah.
Right.
So you're talking about consumer fatigue. They just end up giving it. They might start that process and then they're done.
Yeah.
And so there's no
innovation that I was talking about earlier, like these guys that create these websites where it says, the whole window or the function that they have to opt out of having your, your personal information sold to third parties. Opting out of that, the language is confusing. The toggle is confusing. I mean, but that, that's so telling though for that brand. And I think that's where you call companies out like that try to pull shenanigans like this, that they really don't give a crap about your privacy. They're putting your data before you,
They're putting their money.
They're putting their business before you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Right. And I mean, and so I know Pete jumped up and I was going to get into it because he looked at me when I said, I'm going to go Apple TV. Well, the reason being is that Apple at least is up front.
Totally.
They're up front and they're leading in terms of transparency.
Right.
I remember going to Dallas and they had that, or actually it wasn't Dallas, it was Vegas. And that was their big billboard was privacy first. And that was like, 3 years ago, some event that I was at. It was before COVID, so maybe 4 or 5 years.
I think, radical transparency can be profitable. And I think that's what Apple is trying to tell people. And so being able to really lean into that as a way to innovate instead of trying to put all the work on a consumer who, we have other stuff to do besides, looking at Roku, trying to opt out of stuff. And then, I tell companies, if you're doing something that benefits the person, they'll want to give you data, right? Because it benefits them. And so where you where you go off the rails is that you're doing stuff with data that people don't know about, and it does not benefit them, and then you make it hard for them to opt out.
Yeah.
It's the other thing that I did.
Sorry, Bill, go.
No, go ahead, Steve.
So, Debbie, was that Benson Chan's committee?
Yeah.
Or what?
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that report public or is
It is.
just internal? It is.
Yeah, it's public. I actually posted something on LinkedIn today that has yesterday it has the report. Yeah, the report is public. The proceedings were public. My SmackDown was public. I was like, I blacked out. I was so mad. I don't even I have to go.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Don't mess with Debbie.
No.
WWE Part 2.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
So, Stephanie, that Somos ID was presented to the committee as well for a way to be able to look at identity security within IoT. So Benson and we presented to them too.
Nice.
So the only thing that I will say, and I mean, I'm not saying this is for everyone, but because my home is so connected and there's a trust issue, right, across the board. So I've got, and who you select for your hardware provider is just as important as any other action. So if I unravel, people are like, your home is really connected like that? Yeah, it is. And I've got just as many problems as the big boys do. My firewalls, they're Fortinet. Oh, but damn, Fortinet just got hit recently. And it's like, how many layers, how far back do you have to go to institute any level of security where you can go, it's 100%? Inside my network, I run a distributed ledger. Inside my network.
No way. In the house?
Crazy, dude.
You got way too much time on your hands, Bill.
Well,
We need to do a documentary on Bill.
See, that underscores, we as technologists, we have trouble managing this. So how can just someone's grandma or how can a regular person that's not into technology manage this? It's like entirely too hard. And so, the companies, they have the money, they have the technology, they have the talent. We put a man on the moon over 50 years ago. So please don't tell me that you don't know how to do this. Like, we know we have the talent. We know we can do this. So
that's the thing is there's a level. Me saying I put a distributed ledger in is my level of paranoia.
Yeah.
100%. I don't trust.
Yeah, you know too much, man. That's
right. Exactly. You're the worst buyer that we want to sell to.
Absolutely.
Bill's not using public Wi-Fi.
Let's talk about this.
Yeah.
The Bill is not using public Wi-Fi for anything.
No, he's using 2 cans and a string tied to his laptop.
Exactly.
But it is true. And I think like the type of work that Debbie does, that I actually think a lot of us do, if not all of us, is provide that perspective to improve everyone else's perspective on technology. And these things that are so esoteric and difficult to grasp and understand. Even the simple concept of privacy, people don't know what that means. It's incredible. And I was explaining this to an executive. I said, you know what? I talked to so many companies, and I talked to their CISOs and chief AI officers. And when we talk about privacy, I have to really scratch my head wondering, do you even know the basics of this stuff? Because you are not talking about privacy. You're talking about data protection, but that's not privacy. That's an element, an enabler, but it transcends just the technology itself. It's also a set of policies and beliefs and values that informs how you institute technology to foster your commitment to protecting the privacy of your customers, your partners. And if you fail in those capacities, it can be catastrophic, And that perspective, I'm telling you guys, is generally not there.
Yeah,
that's scary.
And Leonard, I'm going to parlay what you just said. from a IoT security standpoint, we could talk till we're blue in the face about the security aspects and the privacy issues around IoT. But I think the change that's going to happen is going to be caused when criminal charges are brought against CISOs for violations and for breakdowns of security. When these guys are taken out of a place in handcuffs for breaking security levels, I think then you're going to find.
But dude, it has to do with product. I mean, one of the things that Debbie and I always talk about on the podcast we do together on my podcast, we always talk about it's not not the CISO's responsibility. It is entire. Yeah, if you're going to bake privacy privacy protection into your products, that means that's a philosophy at the highest level of that organization in terms of, what is important for us in terms of the way that we deliver value to our customers through our products and services. CISO, they have to worry about the enabling part, protecting the organization, and then, in some implications that products and services may have to the organization, its customers, partners, right? That's further down the conversation. But if and that's why it always irks me when you have all these other companies talk crap about Apple and what they're doing with ATT and everything else that they do, that they claim privacy. You go and you vet what they do architecturally. They are innovating in enabling these higher levels of privacy protection and putting that control in the consumer's hands, empowering them. You see it. It's architecturally there. It has nothing to do with the CISO or the chief security officer. It has everything to do with the product team saying privacy is important, and we are not only infusing this into the products, but if you look at stuff like their private cloud. I keep forgetting what the hell it's called. Private cloud something or whatever.
I forgot what it's
sure.
called.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
That you go and read the technical stuff. It's like, holy
crap. Slick. I thought it was slick. Yeah.
It's not
lip
service.
It's just that it's not an afterthought like with most OEMs, and it's not something we're going to react to only when the consumer or the business or the government pushes back on us.
But you won't care about it until it happens to you.
Right. That's how, and that's what they expect from people. They're not smart enough now to even make the informed decision to say, I want privacy first.
So this is the thing, and this is why I've always enjoyed my talks with Debbie. Is I hear the privacy stuff, and then I watch what happens, and I watch the arguments, and I'm listening. And it always comes back to cybersecurity. It comes back. Yeah. So for me, it's 100% provenance, governance, and transparency.
Yeah. Great.
And the foundation of that is how secure are your endpoints, and then up the stack. Because people are like, oh, well, it's, AES 256. I don't care. That's encryption. That's not cybersecurity.
Right.
I've got app layer security. Okay, well, let's talk about layers 1 through 3, and you got TLS 1.3. If you don't, you got a problem. And let's continue to go up that stack. Once we have that foundationally set, your privacy should be in step with everything that you're doing cybersecurity wise to understand what access controls do you have to any specific data? What data is not accessible? What data? And that's where underlying to all of that for critical infrastructure, I'm like, yeah, you know what? This whole DLT stuff, not talking blockchain, talking blockchain-ish, but I'm not talking blockchain. Distributed ledger technology on that end of it is, in my opinion, is paramount.
A negative word.
Dude, bro.
If you're talking about edge
hold on.
Stuff, automation and all of that. How do I trust those commands? How do I trust that data?
Hey, you know what? Yeah.
I always say, just to make it simple, if you can't protect it, don't collect it, right? So that goes for privacy
Yeah.
and cyber.
So basic. But I'm really scared to hear about the conversations between you, Bill, and Debbie, because Bill's like hangs up the phone and he's like, "What else can I do? I need to do something else. What else can I do?"
Yeah, but I gotta say something, man. It's like you're talking smack about blockchain, dude. Take it back, because those crypto guys hijacked that. You know, there's nothing wrong with blockchain. Those guys hijack that. Take it back, man.
It's not that. It's not that. So I look at it. Okay, so this is the thing, right? We have terms that are used within the space, right? So you say blockchain. All right, now technically my head goes to, okay, is it Ethereum based? Is it this and that? And I'm like, forget all of that. Same thing with digital twins. Now everybody has one. And I'm like, okay, so I'm not using those terms. Let's talk a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Distributed technology as an immutable way and transparent way to lock down your data transactions.
Oh yeah, don't get me wrong. You know, like now going on almost 6 years ago, that piece, that research thing that I did for Ofcom, we avoided the term blockchain. We called it DLT, and nobody was doing that. Everyone was still calling it blockchain, but we intentionally call it distributed ledger technology, because at that time the crypto community was hijacking blockchain, that term. So yeah, no. But I was just suggesting maybe it's time to take it back. You know what I'm saying?
No, I'm not going to
controversial.
Kill that damn term.
He's accepted.
Distributed ledger technology.
Okay.
Bill is opting out of that altogether.
Yes. 100%.
Yeah.
We talked about, well, what's the use case? What problem are you solving? And Steph knows this. I've been hammering on this one in particular. Everyone's still talking about connected vehicles, V2I, V2X, all of these other things. If you don't have a way to understand who did what when, it's going to be out of control.
Yeah.
It is going to be out of control. You will indeed introduce the opportunity for man-in-the-middle attacks, DDoS attacks, all of these known attacks. You're not
okay. Speaking of that, Bill, I have to give some props. Actually, both of you guys. So Bill was an IoT Innovator Awardee this week for True North, and specific to their digital twin innovation. And Steve's client Somos is also on that list. So y'all need to check it out. If you haven't seen the press release, there's it's a big part of what I've been learning from Bill is on his digital twin journey. It's been a journey.
Congratulations. So
awesome.
The True North team is coming through.
Yeah.
Yes, they're silently like breaking the mold here. Just wait.
Yeah. No, congratulations, man.
Yes.
Yeah, it was like 250, almost 250 episodes, and we beat that digital twin horse to death.
I know. I'd like to see how many episodes.
It keeps getting up.
How many episodes do we have where we talk about digital twins and blockchain? The word blockchain. We need to have a little bit of an AI tool to kind of run the metrics on our podcast.
Well, it's weird. We've invited some, experts onto the show, and some have shown up and others haven't. And I think the ones that don't want to get into a debate. So, and then we've had very, very few shit talkers. Surprisingly few. You would think that there would be a lot more people just going, "Oh my God, these guys are a bunch of morons." We don't have that many. And by the way, we do have a lot of people who watch the show. I
think there's a lot of silent stalkers who watch the show, but don't.
Oh my God. No, when I go to conferences, literally entire engineering teams.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, what the? It's like, I wouldn't know. And then they tell me, and I'm like, what
people have been approaching me saying I'm a professional podcaster because I'm on the show, and this is the only thing that I do is this. I don't have my own podcast. It cracks me up.
Yeah, but it's just some people just don't want to get into a debate. But I mean, we got some solid stuff on digital twin. We beat that thing down, and then people keep resurrecting it like a zombie. Talking about the same stuff that we talked about 4 years ago. The wrong stuff. It's like no. Here, listen to this episode and.
It's true because you drop old episodes on there, and I literally go back and I'm listening to it, and I'm like, holy crap.
You know what I've been doing too is I've been grabbing because Rob's real good at pushing it out for his own Twitter channel. Is an old one will come up, and then I'll like you say, I'll read it. But I think what I'm going to do is try to go through and look and find all of those digital twin ones that at least have a label of digital twin, and resurrect it and put a post together. Just go ahead and do your homework, your research. What we've been saying how many years ago is still resonating today. So same stuff.
Yeah, and a lot of it survived. During because we were dropping Buddha bombs during the friggin' digital twin hype cycle. People now forget about that because you had digital twin, then you had the metaverse thing, right?
Yeah, now Gen AI.
Yeah, and then all the digital twin people who found, oh my God, there's really no market because people don't remember. People, McKinsey and all these other guys were throwing up ridiculously huge numbers for
billions,
digital twin, trillions.
Our economic impact is brilliant.
Metaverse, whatever, 13, 14, 20, 30, whatever number that they made up.
But misrepresenting, and I've said it all along, the tool. Digital twins are a tool. So we
100%
have changed from digital twins. We're like, you know what? Because now I'm not going to have this debate over yours is a digital twin. This is not. I'm like, you know what? What we create are operational dashboards.
Yeah.
There you
because they deliver insights in an operational fashion.
Yeah.
Right. And Bill, the first time I ever read anything in this space was the DoD kind of taking their simulation story to the next level. Because they needed to have real time intelligence in the field to figure out when things are happening out in the field, how are they going to react? How are they going to automatically respond? How are they going to dispatch? How are they going to communicate? And that's when I first started reading on it. And then it kind of, broke into the enterprise conversation, plus even more the commercial side.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's a whole privacy aspect to all this stuff now as well, right?
Yeah, no, 100%. So I think one of the first episodes we talked about it, I said that, we had been building them and everything, and all of a sudden it dawned on me first and foremost, wait a minute, that's a threat vector right there. I'm just going to secure that thing, and then it becomes a privacy problem because of the data that we're collecting and where it's going.
Yeah.
So, it was an admission on our side where we said, hey, wait a minute. Number one, this is not the panacea. It is a tool. And we realize that it is also a threat vector and it could be a privacy concern. Mm-hmm. So what are we doing? We're ahead of that game because we have that part covered.
Yeah. And sell it. You know what I'm saying? That's the thing. Going back to what I said earlier, privacy, security, they're not just, this lower layer shit that you stick on the side of your architectural diagram. It should be a core feature. Man, one of the things I love about Lenovo, so I was at Lenovo Tech World and also the GIAC, and they put security first for their AI, services, right? How many companies out there just put security as the first value proposition for the AI solution or services they put out? How many? Honestly. And it might sound trivial, and maybe they might have some. They're just only building the capabilities, but I think for me, it's all about mindset. if you stick that thing last or don't even put it on your slide, you're not even thinking about it, and you don't even think your customers think it's valuable, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't stick, if you don't, it's like saying quality. You don't stick quality on your deck. It's not part of the principle of your company. It's ridiculous, right? Why would you do that? But then you put technology people and process or some other, gratuitous, silly crap. Security. Can you build quality, secure, privacy, things that will protect your customers when it gets deployed or when they use it? Friggin' sounds really important right now. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So why do you not embrace that? Because
Exactly.
if you go to friggin' RSAC, which is the big security conference, everyone's freaking out. Talking about, they're like you, Bill. They know too much. They see all this stuff, and then last year they were all like, talking, oh my God, generative AI is going to save us. This year they go, holy crap, I know too much. And I'm afraid of this stuff, and we are not going to stick this in any of our customers' environments.
We got to have the conversation about AI, and you have one side where everyone's saying, oh, we're going to use AI to secure, right? To identify the threats, to identify risk. And then the other side where the hackers are just like, they're so excited. They're like, we're going to use AI to get
Gen AI. We need to be specific.
Gen AI.
There is, now you have vendors out there who are starting to get pissed off by this Gen AI appropriation of AI.
Right. I got you.
Because now there's nothing to show. ROI, the big question is, where's the ROI? Everybody is asking that. And that's the worst question to be asking, and a telltale sign of what's happening. Where is the ROI? And then now all these guys who've been working on ML, all the good stuff for years they've been to make this crap.
Beneficial stuff.
And they're going to get victimized.
Oh, yeah.
By this Gen AI nonsense,
it's
right?
The same conversation we just had with blockchain. It's like there's going to be something that's going to grab onto it and just taint the entire concept and take away all the good things that have been happening on the back end that have been happening way before we started calling it AI. It's more ML side, but yeah. Here we go again.
90% of the time when people say AI, talk about AI nowadays, they're really talking about ChatGPT.
Yeah.
It's like,
because that's the majority. Like if you did a quick survey of people that are like using it on the day-to-day side for whatever consumer or business, they're just going into ChatGPT. They're not.
That's all they know.
Maybe Google.
They had no idea they were using AI on their iPhones and Android phones for like the last 7-8 years.
Well, they now know because it's part of the advertising for iPhone, right? So that's it.
Well, no, they were talking about, everybody was talking about AI at that time, but nobody cared.
Right.
It's the consumer-facing apps that start to destroy a lot of the quality of the things that are really happening.
You know what?
On the enterprise side.
That's one episode we should dig into is the difference between AI when you have machine learned models.
Oh, yeah.
Knowledge graphs, when you have all of these other things that are really solving problems.
Just to do like a 101.
Right.
And
versus this generative AI that's creating fake pictures and
lots of nonsense data.
Yeah. That's a great point. And so I just got back from 5G Americas. I love that.
How was that? I hated missing.
Yeah, it's always great.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I think, we didn't see some of the Canadian operators. Rogers wasn't there. Intel was not there, and usually they're a huge presence. And so they were absent very notably.
And Qualcomm was there, and they're normally not there.
They had like 11 people. They were there force.
So.
But no, there was a lot of great discussion. You can have the best discussions and truth finding at in those sessions because, it's weird. You bring the operators together, vendors, and then analysts. And it's a rare opportunity where the analysts get to ask really freaking hard questions and make everyone in the room nervous. But they come to the table because they're afraid that one of their competitors is going to talk shit about them. So they come in to defend themselves. It's like, it's really cool.
I do enjoy the breakout sessions they have. So you can kind of go dive into a small group with maybe like 18 people in a room. And it's real hard hitting. I think it's just a high quality event because of that.
It's the best. I love it. And, Chris Pearson wasn't there. He's out for personal reasons. And, anyways, I hope to see you back up, soon, Chris, because you freaking rock, dude. I think we're up on our time. Who wants to take us out?
About to pass out.
Let me do it with the 1-2 punch.
Oh yeah. You want to try it or you just do it.
What do I have to do? I forgot. What do I have to
do? Just take us out.
Take us out.
Summarize and sign off.
Oh, summarize. Well, oh God, what can I say? First of all, I love the fact that you guys are having conversations about what consumers want, right? And what companies need to be thinking about, not just, how hard it is for them to do things, but doing things that actually help a consumer, because that's who you get data from and that's who you get the value from at the end of the day. So whether that your consumer is a business or a person, really thinking about them can really be something that you can leverage, and it shouldn't be something that's a pain in the ass. Right?
Love it.
Yeah, and so remember to subscribe to the IoT Coffee Talk podcast at www.iotcoffeetalk.com. And we do this for the children, K through 12, in underserved and unserved communities. They are out there. And we also have a lot of communities in Florida, in North Carolina that got hit by tragedy, weather-based tragedy, that are now looking for help. And so that's what we're all about. We tried to help the folks in Lahaina, but I don't know what's happening there. But hey, looks like we have a different set of communities that we can help. So help us help them bridge the digital equity divide by donating to Elevate Our Kids at www.elevateourkids.org. And share the love. Let's all support each other, support these kids and communities that are either suffering or just not given a chance. So
buy a t-shirt, buy a sweatshirt.
Yeah, we have cool swag. So check us out and be part of the solution. And we'll see you next week. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks all.